There comes a moment in every seeker's journey when the veil begins to lift, when the invisible threads weaving the inner world with the outer start to reveal themselves in astonishing clarity. This moment, profound yet subtle, is the doorway to a timeless Hermetic truth known as the Law of Correspondence. It whispers to us from the shadowed halls of ancient wisdom, echoing through millennia, carried in the silent hand of Thoth and the immortal teachings of Hermes Trismegistus, the thrice great master of esoteric knowledge. The Law of Correspondence, as above, so below, as within, so without, encapsulates a sacred principle that governs the architecture of existence. It declares that the macrocosm and microcosm, the vast cosmos and the intimate soul, reflect one another in an eternal dance of mirroring and resonance. To understand this law is to hold a key to unlocking the mysteries of reality itself, to perceive how our internal states ripple outward to shape our experiences, and how the external world offers us a reflection of our deepest inner truths. Imagine standing before a vast lake, its surface perfectly still, mirroring the sky's endless expanse, the towering mountains, the delicate flutter of leaves. The lake does not merely exist as water, it becomes a living canvas, a perfect correspondence of what lies above. Similarly, within each of us, there is an inner landscape, a sacred lake of consciousness, that reflects and is reflected by the outer world we inhabit. But how often do we look into this mirror and recognize the patterns, symbols, and echoes of our own inner nature reflected in the unfolding of our daily lives? Hermes Trismegistus, an enigmatic figure shrouded in myth and history, personifies this ancient wisdom. The fusion of the Egyptian god Thoth, the divine scribe and keeper of cosmic order, and the Greek Hermes, the messenger and guide, Hermes Trismegistus stands as the archetype of the enlightened sage. His teachings, encapsulated in the Hermetic corpus and further elaborated in texts such as the Kybalion, form the foundation of a philosophy that transcends time, culture, and belief. The hand of Thoth, often depicted holding the sacred symbols of knowledge and transformation, symbolizes the active force guiding seekers through the labyrinth of reality. It is a reminder that the process of understanding correspondence is not passive observation, but an engaged, conscious alchemy of perceiving and aligning. At its core, the Law of Correspondence invites us to explore the dynamic interplay between our inner worlds, thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and the outer realities we experience. It challenges the notion that reality is separate or objective, revealing instead a profound interconnectedness where every external event is a vibrational echo of an internal state. This principle offers not only explanation but empowerment. By changing the inner, we can influence and transform the outer. Throughout this exploration, we will delve into the Hermetic principles that underpin this law, examining how ancient alchemists and philosophers perceived the universe as a living organism of interrelated layers and energies. We will uncover the ways in which thought, intention, and consciousness manifest realities through vibrational correspondences. Through illustrative examples and symbolic narratives, you will begin to see how the world around you is, in fact, a mirror reflecting the infinite complexity within. The journey will traverse realms of mysticism, philosophy, and metaphysics, yet grounded in practical insights that invite you to cultivate self-awareness and spiritual growth. You will discover how to read the signs in your life as coded messages from your own subconscious, how to recognize patterns in relationships, health, and circumstance as correspondences to your inner beliefs and emotions. As we unfold these ancient teachings, remember that the Law of Correspondence is not merely a theoretical concept, but a living, breathing framework for awakening. It calls us to transcend passive existence, to engage actively with the reflective dance of inner and outer, and to wield the knowledge of correspondence as a tool for transformation. So let us begin by stepping into the timeless presence of Hermes Trismegistus and the sacred hand of Thoth. Let us open the door to the mystery of as above, so below, and embark on a voyage that will deepen your understanding of reality and your place within its vast, interconnected web. To truly grasp the Law of Correspondence, one must first understand that reality is composed of multiple planes, layers of existence that interpenetrate and influence each other, much like the overlapping vibrations of a grand cosmic symphony. The Hermetic tradition teaches that these planes are not separate worlds, but distinct levels of the same unified whole. The physical, the mental, the spiritual, the emotional, all exist in dynamic correspondence, each reflecting and shaping the other. Hermes Trismegistus described the universe as a vast hologram, where the patterns of the macrocosm are perfectly reflected within the microcosm, and vice versa. This holographic vision invites us to see the human being as a miniature universe, an embodied reflection of the cosmos itself. In this view, the mysteries of the stars are not distant enigmas, but encoded within the very fabric of our thoughts and feelings. Consider, for example, the alchemical symbol of the Ouroboros, the serpent eating its own tail. This image encapsulates the principle of correspondence by illustrating the eternal cycle of creation and reflection. The end and the beginning are one. The inner and outer realms fold into each other in an infinite loop. The Ouroboros serves as a visual metaphor for how our inner psychological states produce outer realities, which then influence our internal experiences in return. But how does this interaction manifest in our daily lives? How can we discern the subtle correspondences between what we feel inside and what unfolds around us? The answer lies in patterns and symbolism. Life speaks to us through recurring themes, repeated challenges, synchronicities, emotional triggers, all acting as coded reflections of our inner world. For instance, if one constantly finds themselves in situations of conflict or misunderstanding, this external pattern often mirrors internal discord, unacknowledged fears, unresolved wounds, or limiting beliefs about self-worth and connection. Conversely, periods of harmony and flow may reflect inner states of balance, clarity, and openness. This mirroring is not a mere coincidence, but a fundamental cosmic law at work. Ancient mystics believed that by decoding these correspondences, one could achieve mastery over life's apparent chaos. They practiced deep observation and meditation, learning to interpret the symbolic language of their environment as a direct dialogue with their soul. In doing so, they accessed the hidden laws governing the manifestation of reality, gaining the ability to influence and harmonize their external conditions through inner transformation. An illuminating example comes from the practice of astrology, which is deeply rooted in Hermetic thought. The positions and movements of celestial bodies are seen as reflections of cosmic cycles that resonate within the human psyche. The as above, so below axiom teaches that planetary patterns correspond to psychological archetypes and life events. Through this lens, the heavens serve as a mirror for the inner landscape, offering guidance on timing, potentials, and challenges. Similarly, ancient alchemists worked with correspondences between metals, planets, and psychological states. Lead, associated with Saturn, symbolized heaviness, limitation, and contraction, states to be transformed into gold, representing enlightenment, freedom, and expansion. The alchemical process was a metaphorical journey of inner transmutation, where understanding the correspondences between material substances and spiritual qualities enabled profound personal transformation. In modern terms, this can be understood as a sophisticated interplay between consciousness and reality, where our mental and emotional patterns create vibrational fields that attract corresponding experiences. The law of correspondence reveals that reality is not fixed or external but fluid and responsive, shaped by the ongoing interaction between inner states and outer manifestations. To deepen this understanding, imagine the mind as a projector and the world as the screen. What we internally hold, our beliefs, emotions, intentions, is projected outward, creating the scenes of our lives. The quality of the projection depends on the clarity and coherence of the inner image. When the mind is clouded by fear, confusion, or resistance, the external reflection is distorted. When the inner vision is aligned with truth, love, and clarity, the outer world responds with harmony and opportunity. This dynamic interplay offers both challenge and empowerment. It challenges the prevailing notion of victimhood by revealing that we are co-creators of our reality, responsible for the vibrational signals we emit. It empowers us to consciously cultivate inner states that align with the life we desire, transforming obstacles into lessons and limitations into gateways. Yet, the journey toward mastery of correspondence is not a simple path. It requires profound self-awareness, courage to face hidden shadows, and the patience to observe without judgment. It demands learning the subtle language of symbols and the willingness to engage in ongoing inner work. But the reward is the ability to move through life with grace, seeing each experience as a mirror reflecting the soul's evolution. Through this lens, every encounter becomes meaningful, every challenge an invitation to growth. The outer world ceases to be a random chaos and becomes a sacred text, written in the language of correspondence, waiting to be read and understood by the awakened mind. As we continue this exploration, we will unravel the specific Hermetic principles that animate the law of correspondence, diving deeper into the ancient codes that reveal how energy and consciousness weave the fabric of existence. We will uncover practical ways to apply these teachings in daily life, enhancing spiritual insight and facilitating transformation. The path laid out by Hermes Trismegistus beckons us onward, to become not just observers but active participants in the dance between the inner and outer realms, awakening to the truth that to change our world, we must first change within. At the heart of the law of correspondence lies the profound understanding that, as above, so below, as below, so above. This ancient maxim, originating from the emerald tablet of Hermes Trismegistus, is not merely poetic but a fundamental truth encoded into the very architecture of the cosmos. It encapsulates the notion that every level of existence, from the celestial spheres to the microscopic atoms, mirrors each other in structure, principle, and pattern. This concept invites us to reflect on the fractal nature of reality, where similar patterns repeat infinitely at different scales. The spiral of a galaxy echoes in the swirl of a seashell. The branching of a tree mirrors the nervous system in the human body. This geometric harmony is not accidental, but reveals a sacred order underlying apparent chaos. The Hermetic sages viewed this correspondence as a key to unlocking hidden knowledge. By studying one level, say the microcosm of the human being, one could infer truths about the macrocosm of the universe, and vice versa. This inner relationship forms the basis for many esoteric sciences. Astrology, alchemy, sacred geometry, and ritual magic all rely on decoding the symbolic bridges between realms. In practical terms, this means that the transformation of the self, the inner alchemy, precipitates change in the outer world. It is why spiritual practices emphasize inner purification, mental discipline, and emotional mastery. The Hermetic tradition posits that altering the inner vibration resonates outward, reshaping one's external reality in accordance with those changes. Take, for example, the psychological phenomenon of projection. When unresolved conflicts or suppressed emotions exist within, they often manifest as external problems or relationships that reflect those internal states. A person harboring resentment may attract conflict or betrayal, not as punishment, but as a mirror revealing the shadow to be healed. Furthermore, the law of correspondence extends beyond psychology to the physical realm. Quantum physics now supports the idea that observer consciousness influences the behavior of particles, blurring the line between subject and object, inner and outer. The very act of observation creates a shift in reality, a scientific echo of the ancient Hermetic wisdom. Illustrative of this principle is the story of the mystic who perceived his environment as a direct reflection of his soul's state. In moments of peace and clarity, the world appeared vibrant and harmonious. In times of turmoil and confusion, the surroundings seemed chaotic and hostile. His realization awakened a profound responsibility. By cultivating inner light and coherence, he could alter not only his perception but the very fabric of his experience. Another compelling example is found in alchemical symbolism. The solve et coagula, to dissolve and to coagulate, speaks to the process of breaking down old forms and recombining them into higher states. This is mirrored in the Hermetic view of reality as fluid and mutable, where transformation begins in the subtle planes before manifesting physically. By understanding correspondence, one learns to read life's signs with new eyes. Synchronicities, meaningful coincidences, cease to be random but become signals from the inner self or the universe guiding the seeker. Dreams, symbols, and intuitive flashes gain significance as bridges between the seen and unseen worlds. This interplay encourages an active engagement with life as a living dialogue. Rather than passive experience, life becomes a co-creative process, where consciousness collaborates with cosmic laws. The initiate who masters correspondence moves gracefully through challenges, recognizing each event as a lesson encoded in a symbolic language. Moreover, this principle fosters humility and reverence. It reminds us that we are not isolated individuals, but integral parts of a vast, interconnected whole. What we hold within affects not only ourselves, but ripples across the collective fabric. This awareness calls for responsible stewardship of our thoughts, emotions, and actions. In the contemporary world, many have forgotten this profound connection, viewing themselves as separate from nature and the cosmos. The law of correspondence, however, beckons us back to a holistic vision, a renaissance of sacred knowledge that sees the universe as a mirror and the self as a microcosmic reflection of divine order. As we continue to delve deeper, we will explore specific Hermetic principles intertwined with correspondence, such as vibration, polarity, and rhythm, uncovering how these universal laws govern the flow of energy and consciousness. We will illuminate the ancient wisdom embedded in sacred texts and rituals, revealing practical applications for spiritual awakening and conscious manifestation. Through this journey, the veil between the inner and outer worlds thins, inviting us to perceive life not as a fragmented experience, but as a unified whole, pulsating with meaning and divine intelligence. As we embrace the depth of the law of correspondence, it becomes essential to understand how this principle informs the practice of Hermetic transformation. At its core, transformation is an alignment, the harmonizing of one's inner world with the greater cosmic order. This alignment is no superficial fix, but a profound reconfiguration of consciousness, leading to authentic empowerment and expanded awareness. One of the most illustrative Hermetic concepts that demonstrate this is the idea of the inner temple. In the esoteric traditions, the human being is often depicted as a sacred temple, a microcosm where divine mysteries are enacted. Within this temple reside layers of consciousness, the mind, heart, and spirit, each corresponding to greater cosmic archetypes. To transform the outer life, the initiate must first enter and sanctify this inner sanctuary. Consider the metaphor of light passing through a prism. The source light is pure and singular, yet when it interacts with the prism, it refracts into a spectrum of colors, diverse, yet originating from one source. Similarly, our thoughts and emotions refract the infinite potential of consciousness into the myriad experiences of life. By mastering correspondence, we learn to recognize the colors of our inner spectrum and consciously choose which to amplify or dissolve. The practice of meditation and contemplation serves as the gateway to this inner work. Through stillness, the initiate attunes to the subtle vibrations within, discerning patterns of disharmony or blockage. These patterns are not random, but reflections of deeper archetypal energies at play, shadows and light, masculine and feminine, creation and dissolution, all dancing in correspondence with universal laws. Hermetic texts often describe the alchemical process of transmutation as a journey from nigredo, blackening, to albedo, whitening, and finally to rubedo, reddening, symbolic stages representing death of the old self, purification, and rebirth. These stages mirror the cyclical rhythms of nature, winter's dormancy, spring's awakening, and summer's fullness, embodying the eternal dance of correspondence between inner and outer worlds. In the practical realm, this means that every challenge, relationship, or circumstance is imbued with the potential to catalyze transformation. When perceived through the lens of correspondence, difficulties become mirrors reflecting unresolved inner dynamics. By working with these reflections through forgiveness, insight, and conscious choice, the initiate begins to rewrite their life script, shifting the outer reality in accordance with a newly awakened inner truth. This approach is not mere wishful thinking, but grounded in the subtle mechanics of energy. Modern energy medicine and quantum studies increasingly validate that coherent intention and emotional alignment produce measurable effects on physiological and environmental systems. The Hermetic tradition anticipated these discoveries millennia ago, embedding them in symbolic teachings and ritual practices designed to awaken this inner power. One poignant example is the Hermetic use of sacred geometry, the study of universal patterns expressed in form and proportion. The flower of life, Metatron's cube, and the golden ratio are not just aesthetic designs but vibrational blueprints that resonate with the fundamental structures of reality. By meditating on these forms or integrating them into sacred spaces, practitioners align their inner vibration with cosmic harmony, facilitating healing and manifestation. Furthermore, the law of correspondence extends into the art of language itself. Words, as vibrational vehicles, carry the power to shape reality. The ancient Hermetic maxim, "The lips of wisdom are closed, except to the ears of understanding," implies that speech must be wielded with conscious awareness. Affirmations, prayers, and mantras become tools of vibrational resonance, aligning thought and feeling to manifest desired outcomes. The interplay between sound and form is further exemplified in the practice of chanting sacred names, or vibrational codes, believed to unlock hidden dimensions of consciousness. These sonic keys resonate within the body's energetic centers, or chakras, facilitating the flow of vital energy and bridging the inner and outer realms. Understanding correspondence also reveals the interconnectedness of all dualities, light and shadow, spirit and matter, order and chaos. The Hermetic initiate embraces these polarities not as opposing forces, but complementary aspects of a unified whole. This non-dual perspective fosters balance, compassion, and wisdom, transcending binary limitations to experience the fullness of existence. As we journey deeper, the Law of Correspondence challenges us to transcend superficial perceptions and awaken to the reality that our inner world is the architect of our outer experience. It calls us to become alchemists of consciousness, transforming base states into spiritual gold, fear into love, and limitation into freedom. In this sacred work, patience and perseverance are essential virtues. Transformation is seldom linear. It unfolds through cycles, reflections, and sometimes paradox. Yet, with each conscious act aligned to this law, the veil between inner and outer worlds grows thinner, and the initiate moves closer to the realization of unity with the cosmos. To truly embody the law of correspondence, the Hermetic seeker must develop a heightened sensitivity to the subtle signs and synchronicities that permeate everyday life. These synchronistic events are not mere coincidences but meaningful correspondences, echoes of inner states manifesting in the external world as guides, confirmations, or challenges. Imagine, for a moment, a garden tended by an unseen gardener. The seeds you plant within your consciousness, whether they be thoughts, beliefs, or emotions, are like the seeds sown in this garden. The external circumstances that bloom around you are the visible flowers and fruits, reflections of what has been nurtured within. A weed appearing in the garden is a signal, an invitation to tend to an overlooked part of your inner terrain. This garden metaphor underscores a central tenet of Hermetic philosophy. The external environment is a mirror, and what we perceive out there can teach us much about what remains unconscious in here. When frustration arises in relationships, it often corresponds to unresolved inner conflicts regarding self-worth, boundaries, or forgiveness. When opportunities unexpectedly arise, they often resonate with a moment of inner readiness or expanded awareness. The practice of self-reflection becomes the alchemical crucible in which transformation is forged. Through honest inquiry and contemplative disciplines, the seeker learns to read the symbolic language of life, to decode the messages woven into the fabric of reality. Dreams, intuition, and spontaneous insights become precious tools, revealing correspondences between internal states and external events. In ancient Hermetic teachings, the concept of the as above, so below principle illustrates this profound interconnectedness. It tells us that the macrocosm, the universe at large, and the microcosm, the individual human experience, are reflections of each other. This principle invites the seeker to recognize that the patterns observed in the stars, the cycles of nature, and cosmic rhythms are mirrored in the personal journey of growth and transformation. By understanding this principle, one begins to see how astrological events, lunar phases, and seasonal shifts can influence not just external conditions but internal moods, thoughts, and potentials. Aligning personal intentions with these cosmic rhythms amplifies the power of manifestation, making one a conscious participant in the unfolding dance of existence. The Hermetic initiate also learns that correspondence is not passive observation, but active co-creation. Through conscious alignment of thought, emotion, and action, one can influence the trajectory of life. This alignment calls for mastery over one's inner world, cultivating clarity, coherence, and integrity. Examples of this active engagement are found throughout history in the lives of mystics, sages, and alchemists who understood how to harness correspondence. Their rituals, meditations, and symbolic acts were not mere superstitions but sophisticated technologies of consciousness, designed to create resonant fields that influence matter and energy. Modern science, particularly in fields like epigenetics and quantum physics, is beginning to catch up with these ancient insights. Research shows how mindset, intention, and emotional states can affect physiological health, gene expression, and even influence external events through subtle energy interactions. Yet, the path is not without its challenges. The Law of Correspondence reveals uncomfortable truths about self-responsibility. It strips away victimhood and invites accountability, as the outer world reflects the inner condition. This can be confronting, but it also empowers profound healing and growth. To assist in this inner work, Hermetic philosophy offers various tools: the study of symbolism, meditation on sacred texts, the practice of visualization, and ritual ceremonies. Each tool serves as a bridge between inner experience and outer reality, facilitating a deeper harmony with universal laws. Ultimately, the law of correspondence teaches that the journey to mastery is the journey inward. It is the unfolding of self-awareness that illuminates the shadows and allows the light of truth to shine forth. As the inner landscape transforms, so too does the outer world respond, reflecting the renewed harmony within. This sacred dance between the inner and outer is a testament to the profound unity at the heart of all things. Through this lens, life ceases to be fragmented or chaotic and becomes a meaningful, interconnected whole, a living tapestry woven by the conscious interplay of thought, energy, and intention. As we deepen our understanding of the law of correspondence, it becomes essential to explore how this principle intertwines with the other Hermetic laws, forming an integrated framework that governs the subtle mechanics of reality. The interplay between mentalism, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender cannot be separated from correspondence. Each law complements and enhances the others, creating a multidimensional architecture of existence. For instance, the law of vibration teaches us that everything in the universe is in constant motion, vibrating at various frequencies. When we observe a correspondence between an inner feeling and an outer event, we are witnessing the resonance of vibrational frequencies aligning across different planes of reality. This resonance is the energetic language that communicates between the unseen and the seen. Similarly, the law of polarity reveals that all phenomena exist in dualities or opposites: light and shadow, love and fear, expansion and contraction. Correspondence guides us to recognize these dualities within ourselves and the external world, encouraging balance and integration rather than rejection or denial. In practical terms, the initiate learns that shifting their internal vibration can alter the external correspondence. When one cultivates love instead of fear, clarity instead of confusion, or gratitude instead of resentment, the outer world reflects these inner changes. This is not wishful thinking, but the result of precise energetic dynamics described in Hermetic teachings. Take, for example, the transformation alchemists sought. Turning lead into gold was a metaphor for converting base emotions and thoughts into enlightened consciousness. By understanding the correspondences between emotional states and physical realities, the initiate embarks on a personal alchemical journey, refining the self and thereby influencing the fabric of their life. This process requires dedication, patience, and a willingness to face the often hidden aspects of the psyche. It calls for the dismantling of limiting beliefs, shadow work to heal wounds, and the cultivation of virtues such as patience, courage, and wisdom. Modern psychological approaches echo these Hermetic insights. Concepts such as the subconscious mind, cognitive reframing, and emotional intelligence illustrate how internal states shape perception and behavior, which in turn mold external circumstances. The ancient Hermetic laws, once shrouded in mysticism, now find empirical support through contemporary science. Moreover, the law of cause and effect assures that every internal vibration set in motion is a cause that inevitably produces an effect in the outer world. Understanding this law enables the initiate to become an active creator rather than a passive experiencer, consciously sowing seeds that will bear the desired harvest. Another powerful aspect of correspondence lies in the principle of gender, the masculine and feminine energies that exist in all things. This dynamic interplay operates within and without, shaping the creative process itself. Awareness of this balance allows for the harmonization of action and receptivity, logic and intuition, structure and flow. In sacred geometry, mandalas, and ritual magic, these principles are encoded as symbols and archetypes. These visual and symbolic correspondences act as catalysts for inner transformation and external manifestation. When engaged mindfully, they enhance the alignment between inner states and outer realities. The path of the Hermetic seeker, therefore, is both mystical and practical. It is a disciplined exploration of consciousness that bridges metaphysics and lived experience. By mastering the law of correspondence, one gains the key to deciphering the signs life presents, interpreting dreams, and navigating the cycles of fortune and challenge. This mastery also fosters compassion and humility. Recognizing that others' behaviors and life situations reflect their internal correspondences cultivates empathy and detachment, reducing judgment and fostering unity. In essence, the law of correspondence invites us to awaken to the profound truth that we are not isolated entities but integral parts of a vast, interconnected cosmos. Every thought, feeling, and intention is a thread in the universal tapestry, weaving patterns that transcend space and time. As you continue your journey, remember that this knowledge is not a mere intellectual exercise but a living practice. Each moment offers an opportunity to align your inner world with your outer reality, to create harmony where there was discord, and to manifest the highest potential of your being. As we delve deeper into the practical applications of the law of correspondence, it becomes clear that this principle serves as a profound tool for self-awareness and intentional living. The ancient Hermetic masters emphasized that to change the outer world, one must begin by transforming the inner landscape. This transformation is not superficial. It requires an authentic reconfiguration of beliefs, emotions, and mental patterns. Consider the analogy of a mirror. The external reality reflects the condition of the internal mind. If the mirror is fogged or cracked, the reflection appears distorted. Clearing the mirror requires patience and the willingness to face one's own shadows without resistance. This inner cleansing is the alchemical process of refining the self. One effective method employed by Hermetic initiates is meditation and contemplative introspection. These practices cultivate a receptive state, allowing the initiate to perceive subtle correspondences and hidden connections between thoughts, feelings, and external events. Through sustained observation, patterns emerge, recurring themes in dreams, synchronicities, or relationships, which reveal the underlying vibrational state. The initiate learns to decode these signs, understanding that challenges in the physical world are often manifestations of unresolved inner conflicts. For example, repeated conflicts in relationships may correspond to unhealed wounds of self-worth or trust. Financial hardships may mirror internal scarcity beliefs or fears around abundance. Once these correspondences are recognized, the path to healing becomes illuminated. The initiate can employ Hermetic tools such as affirmations, visualization, ritual, or symbolic acts to realign their energy field. These tools act as vibrational catalysts, shifting internal frequencies to generate new, harmonious correspondences in outer reality. Another critical aspect of correspondence lies in language, both spoken and unspoken. Words carry vibrational power that shapes consciousness and reality. The Hermetic tradition teaches the sacredness of language, encouraging the mindful use of words to create rather than destroy. This principle resonates with modern discoveries in neurolinguistics and the psychology of language, where the words we use influence brain patterns and emotional states. Consider the power of reframing. By consciously altering the language used to describe experiences, individuals can shift their internal correspondence, opening new pathways for growth and healing. This shift is not mere semantics, but a deep energetic realignment. Furthermore, the law of correspondence invites us to engage with nature as a living reflection of our inner states. Observing natural cycles, the waxing and waning of the moon, the changing seasons, the rhythm of day and night, provides insights into the universal rhythms that govern all life. Aligning with these cycles enhances our harmony with the cosmos and supports the manifestation of our intentions. Ancient Hermetic temples and sacred sites were often constructed with this cosmic alignment in mind, serving as focal points where practitioners could attune to the universal correspondences. These spaces acted as amplifiers, bridging the gap between the microcosm and macrocosm. In our modern world, reconnecting with nature and cultivating a sacred space for reflection can serve similar functions. Whether through gardening, mindful walking, or simply observing natural phenomena, these practices reinforce the understanding that what is within resonates outwardly. The journey of mastering the law of correspondence is also a journey of personal responsibility. Recognizing that our internal world creates our external circumstances empowers us to take ownership of our lives. This responsibility is liberating rather than burdensome, for it places the keys of creation firmly in our hands. However, this path requires courage and honesty. It demands the willingness to face uncomfortable truths and the discipline to practice conscious alignment consistently. Like tuning a delicate instrument, maintaining vibrational harmony is an ongoing process, requiring regular attention and care. Hermetic wisdom reminds us that transformation is often gradual, marked by cycles of progress and retreat. Patience and persistence are essential virtues, as is self-compassion during moments of struggle or apparent regression. Ultimately, the law of correspondence teaches that we are both the artist and the canvas of our existence. By cultivating awareness of the invisible threads linking our inner and outer worlds, we awaken to our creative potential and the profound interconnectedness of all things. As you move forward on this path, Carry with you the understanding that every thought you think, every feeling you nurture, and every action you take is a brushstroke painting the masterpiece of your life. Let this awareness inspire you to live with intention, presence, and reverence for the sacred dance of correspondence that shapes the universe. As we conclude our exploration of the law of correspondence, it is essential to reflect on the profound implications this principle holds for spiritual awakening and personal growth. This law reveals a universe that is not chaotic or arbitrary, but one woven together by intricate patterns of resonance and reflection. It invites us to see beyond surface appearances and recognize the sacred architecture underlying all existence. The first step toward embodying this law is cultivating mindful awareness of your inner state. Begin to observe your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs with the curiosity of a seeker and the compassion of a healer. Notice the subtle energies you carry throughout your day, how your mood shifts, what triggers your reactions, and how your perceptions shape your experience. Through this practice, you will uncover the correspondences between your internal world and the outer circumstances you encounter. These insights are not judgments but guideposts, illuminating areas ripe for transformation and healing. Next, embrace the power of intentional alignment. Use the Hermetic tools of visualization, affirmation, and ritual to consciously shape your vibrational field. Visualize the life you wish to create not as a distant dream, but as a present reality already unfolding within you. Affirm the qualities you seek, peace, abundance, love, as if they are your current truth. Rituals, whether simple or elaborate, serve to anchor these intentions in your consciousness and activate the subtle energies that support manifestation. They can involve breath work, meditation, chanting, or symbolic actions that resonate with your personal path. Remember, the effectiveness of these practices lies not in their complexity, but in your sincere engagement and emotional connection. The law of correspondence responds to authenticity and heartfelt intention. It is also vital to cultivate harmony between the inner and outer dimensions of your life. This means aligning your actions, environment, and relationships with your evolving inner truths. Surround yourself with people, places, and experiences that uplift and reflect your highest self. Creating sacred spaces in your home or daily routine can reinforce this alignment. Whether it's a corner with meaningful objects, a daily gratitude practice, or moments of silent reflection, these rituals nurture the vibrational coherence necessary for profound change. As you deepen your understanding of correspondence, you will begin to perceive the interconnectedness of all things more vividly. You will notice how shifts within you ripple outward, influencing not only your personal reality, but also the collective consciousness. This awareness carries a sacred responsibility, to be a conscious co-creator who contributes positively to the harmony of the whole. Each act of kindness, each moment of presence, and each choice rooted in love amplifies the vibrations that uplift the world. Hermetic wisdom offers timeless guidance for navigating the challenges that arise on this path. When external circumstances seem discordant or difficult, look inward for the corresponding vibration. Rather than resisting or blaming, invite curiosity and compassion. Ask yourself, what is this experience reflecting about my inner state? What lesson or healing opportunity does it present? This shift from victimhood to empowered observer is transformative. Moreover, the law of correspondence teaches us that growth often unfolds in spirals rather than straight lines. You may revisit themes, relationships, or patterns, but each encounter holds new insights and possibilities as your consciousness evolves. Embrace this cyclical process with patience and grace, knowing that every reflection is an invitation to deepen your mastery of self and reality. Finally, embodying the law of correspondence is an ongoing journey, a dance between awareness, intention, and action. It requires humility to recognize that mastery is a continuous unfolding rather than a fixed destination. Yet, within this journey lies immense freedom. The freedom to choose your vibrational state, to shape your reality, and to awaken to the profound truth that the universe within you is mirrored in the universe around you. As you step forward, carry this sacred knowledge as a beacon, a guide illuminating your path towards spiritual awakening and personal empowerment. Let this understanding inspire you to live intentionally, to heal courageously, and to create vibrantly. The cosmos awaits your dance. As we bring this journey to a close, remember that the law of correspondence is more than just a principle to understand. It is a profound invitation to awaken. It calls you to recognize that your inner world is not separate from the universe, but a vibrant reflection of the greater cosmic dance. Your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs are not idle. They are the sacred architects shaping your reality. With this power comes responsibility, and with responsibility comes freedom. You have the ability to transform your life by transforming your inner state. To awaken your consciousness to the subtle currents that flow between your mind and the world outside. This awakening is a sacred process of aligning with the truth of who you are, a radiant being of light, energy, and infinite potential. It is a call to shed limiting beliefs, to heal old wounds, and to embrace the path of conscious creation. Let this wisdom guide you to live with intention and presence. To choose thoughts that elevate, emotions that inspire, and actions that manifest your highest good. In the silent spaces between your thoughts, listen for the whisper of the cosmos, a reminder that you are never alone, that your inner journey echoes across the vastness of existence. Step boldly into the role of the co-creator. Dance with the rhythms of the universe. Trust the sacred correspondence that connects all things, and let it be the compass that leads you toward fulfillment and peace. The ancient Hermetic masters left us these timeless laws not as secrets to hoard, but as lights to guide humanity toward awakening. Now the torch passes to you. Rise in awareness. Embody your truth. Change your frequency. Change your life. And in doing so, become a beacon of transformation, inspiring others to discover the infinite universe within themselves. The path is yours to walk. The power is yours to wield. Awaken to your divine correspondence with all that is, and watch as your world transforms in magnificent harmony.